Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Haygood. I am so excited to introduce you this week to the Scottsdale, I was about to say SPD, the Scottsdale Police Department. We have a couple officers in here from the Foothills District, and they're the community outreach. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and give us some feedback on our favorite podcast listening app. You can find us all on the social media platforms, as well as a video of this episode on YouTube. Just search for Scottsdale Vibes Podcast and click subscribe. And if you haven't heard yet, we've expanded. The publication Scottsdale City Lifestyle is now a part of the Scottsdale Vibes family. So learn even more about what's going on in our beautiful community, and be sure to check out the newest issue every month. I'm going to take a short break, and when I come back, I'm going to have Officer Robert Katzeroff with me, as well as Commanding Officer Chris Watson. Stay tuned. When it comes to family-friendly dentistry, there's only one place in Scottsdale, and that's Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry. Teeth cleaning, innovative, pain-free laser dentistry, teeth whitening, root canals, and really any dental need you may have, Dr. Rob and his staff at Arizona Center for Laser Dentistry can handle it all. They're more than just a dentist, they really are family. We've been going there for over 3 years, and my family loves them. When your kids get excited to go to the dentist, you know you've got a good one. Dr. Rob DeVito is the only dentist in town that can handle it all. Give him a call at 480-990-1905. You can find him on the web at drdevito.com. And don't forget to tell him you heard him on the podcast. You see them around town, or maybe they're so sly and in disguise, but Scottsdale Police is here to talk about all the great things happening in our city. Each district here in Scottsdale has a different commanding officer, and here in the Foothills District, we have a new face in the position, but not new to the force. Commander Chris Watson has been with Scottsdale Police since 2005, where he worked his way up from patrol officer, field training officer, street crimes detective, and drug enforcement unit detective, all while raising 7 children, I just found out, so praise him. The former Marine, who also has a master's in criminal justice from ASU, is here to tell us all about the ways we can work together as a community. So, Chris, first of all, welcome to the new position and welcome to the podcast. Right before we got started, Officer Robert Katzeroff was just talking about how great you were, so I'm so excited for you to live up to all of his expectations. It's only been a couple months at the helm, but tell me what you're most excited about.
And I didn't pay him to say any of that stuff. So let me preface with that. Thank you for having us. I'm very excited to be in this new role. Yeah. And specifically being up here in the Foothills District. I love it. You asked what I'm most excited about, and by far it is the community engagement piece of it. One of my favorite things to do is learn different perspectives and meet new people in our community. And as you've had on the podcast, even the last week's episode with Blake. Yeah. I listened to that one. Yeah. And just what an incredible story. Right? And the people that we have all around us, that's what I love about being a commander in the Foothills District in Scottsdale, and meeting the amazing people around us. And that's kind of hard for any police officer. I feel like that can be difficult. You're seen as like the crime preventers are always having, the bad rep of preventing crime, being with crime. You see a lot of bad things, but there is so much positive going on in our community. And I love that you all have this position for some of the officers to really have that outreach, as well as us in the community getting to know you guys better, right? And form that trust and stuff like that. Right. Officer Katzeroff, you were just talking about him. So tell me, you've been in this position. We've had you on a couple times. Tell me what you're so excited about for Commander Watson here.
Not that I haven't had great commanders before. I want to preface it with that. But one of the great things about Commander Watson is his genuineness. He truly cares about the people that he works with and the people that he works for, being all the citizens of North Scottsdale and Scottsdale in general. And it's reflected in not only what I see at work, but what I've seen in his personal life and heard about his personal life. He's a family man. He volunteers in his community and gives his time freely. The person of Chris Watson is somebody that I can look up to as a role model, even though I'm far older than him.
I love it. Well, you've kind of been in this position a little bit, Katzeroff, and I want to hear from you. Like, what are some things that you really learned, and what did you enjoy about that you can pass on that information to him?
We've talked about this before. Working in Scottsdale is one of the greatest places to work for a police officer, in that we have a great community that we partner with. And I say that because as police officers, we have to partner with our community to create a safer environment for everybody. Yep. If it's just us versus them, those relationships don't work out as far as law enforcement goes. So we have a true partnership with our citizens of Scottsdale, where they appreciate us, and then we appreciate the relationship that we have with them as well. And so just fostering those relationships, like what he's excited about doing, I think is one of the most important things that he can learn as the new commander.
I love that. And I love being on the other end of that, on this side of the table with you guys and fostering that relationship and being a part of your community and being involved. To me, it just goes to show and highlight all the great things going on here, which is great for you. Chris, you've been a part of the police force since 2005. You've also been a Marine, so you have seen a lot.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, what are some of your memorable moments of being an officer, through this time for you?
There have been so many, and even you kind of talked through some of the different assignments and things like that. My most fond memories were as a brand new officer getting out there and realizing, okay, my dreams of being a police officer are finally here.
Yeah.
Now what do I do with it? and so there's been some high highs and some low lows for sure, and some things that I wish I could go back and tell 2005, 2006 Chris Watson, hey, you're going down the wrong path. This is not what you should be doing here. And what I mean by that is just recognizing that there are times where somebody might need a citation. There's probably other times where they may just need to be educated and given that opportunity to correct themselves. Because as a new police officer, I was naturally out there, hungry, wanted to, have every interaction I could. But it didn't take long to learn that, okay, there's a different way of approaching every situation.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that goes along with parenting 7 children and being a wife or a husband to your wife and everything else. So I can totally relate to that in all aspects of life.
Yeah, I would tell you now, being a parent, because I wasn't a parent in 2005, being a parent now into 7 is one of the best experiences as far as training that I've ever gotten. For you talk about leadership training, coming here and running a district has nothing on the Watson house. So there's always something new, always dealing with some sort of new drama and something that I just never thought I would experience. So.
Officer Katzeroff kind of told me the same thing. I'm going to get one of y'all's kids on here one time to talk about me. Yeah. See, he's like, I'm sure they have some stories on it.
They would be lining up outside the door ready to come in here.
I would truly have to pay them before they came on.
I love it. Well, your new title as commander of the Foothills District will hopefully be a little calmer than some of your other past titles. But I'd love to hear from you first, then Officer Katzeroff, I'd love to hear from you as well. What are some of the issues or problems that you're seeing in the community that you're excited to focus on and better?
Well, a big piece in the Foothills District is our traffic, and that's something that's a constant issue up north. We're coming, hopefully, at some point to the end of the summer.
Yeah, and, goodness, let's hope so.
And with that, we typically will see a significant increase in traffic and population. And so for us, it's getting ready for that, the additional traffic that we're going to see on the streets. I will tell you, our traffic engineering department at the city of Scottsdale is extremely talented, very smart individuals, and they're constantly working to better traffic plans and to improve traffic throughout the city. So we're actually seeing some better statistics as far as accidents, things like that. We want to continue to reduce those numbers. Another big key in regards to traffic is how we interact with each other while we drive, right? Man, so many people just forget who they are when they get behind the wheel of a car, and everybody becomes a bully. Be kind as you would as we're talking here now when you're driving. There's we often attribute the worst things to everybody around us, but the best things to ourselves. Let's work on finding that balance and treating other people with respect on the road, just as we would in person.
I love that. And you're right. We do hold that internally. That's interesting, but it's true. Let's talk about that. What are some of the traffic changes that have happened? What are you seeing from the engineers they've already implemented, and what does the future look like, some of those?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can see some of the projects going on throughout the city. There's our population is going to increase. There's no doubt.
It's already increasing.
Yes. So with that, we've got increased drivers. Now, there's a lot of construction going on. There's widening of roads. There's roundabouts that were put in different locations and things like that. Those aren't just, on a Monday morning somebody says, hey, let's change the traffic plan here.
Sure does seem like it sometimes.
It does. Sometimes it feels like that, doesn't it? But that is not the case. It's a lot of thought and statistics and things like that go into any changes we make on the road. Or our traffic engineering group does. So with that, that's a lot of the changes that are going to continue to happen is the expansion of roads and different traffic patterns. So just keep an eye out for those things and
be patient. Add more time. I know there's a bunch of construction going on at Pima and Pinnacle up that way.
Yeah, that's one of the spots.
But that's helping out. So hopefully just a little bit more time will be good. But I know that was a big one for us up here.
Definitely.
Officer Katzeroff, we kind of talked a little bit. What are some things that you've seen in the past couple years and that you're kind of focusing to continue to focus on, I should say?
One of the things, and without causing panic, because this isn't like an everyday crime, but we have seen a few instances of what we call jugging. And it's not where people are like juggling balls and all that. But what it is, it's a case where people are being followed from their bank to their next stop. And from there, they are having their car broken into, or they're being, strong-armed robbery from people who are following from the bank. Just this last week, I was looking at a couple of reports where they were followed from a pretty good distance, one from South Scottsdale and one from Central Phoenix into our district up here.
That's a dedicated thief.
Yeah.
Right. And in one case, it was a vehicle burglary, and in the other case, somebody was in the car when the suspect came in and just grabbed the money out of it. So it's really important that as you are going about your daily lives, that you are not so unfocused that you're looking at your phone or your thoughts are, at other places. You need to be aware of what's going on around you. And it's kind of good advice for everything from not only this, but for just the traffic and just personal safety in general.
Yeah.
That we need to not just focus on what's right in front of us, but to actually be looking around and seeing what's going on. And so in particular with the jugging incidents, it's important to know anything that's out of the ordinary at your bank. And if you do notice somebody who's following you, you should be calling 911 if you suspect that you're being targeted for one of these incidents. And don't just stop at a store or whatever, go to a public place, or even better is to, when you get on the phone with the dispatcher, is to drive to the nearest police station.
Okay.
And officers will meet you there, and hopefully we'll contact the people who are doing these crimes and be able to arrest them.
Yeah.
Is there like a ring of them, or they tend to be individual or anything like that?
Like most crime, there tends to be a smaller population who commits a larger number of the crimes. And so I don't know if it's a specific ring, but they're probably limited in the number of people. Again, this is not a super
Don't panic.
common,
Yeah,
it's not a super common crime, but it's something that I've seen a few times in the last month that I want to make sure people are aware of and take steps to make themselves safe.
Okay.
The other key to that is it's usually people withdrawing large amounts, and they are fairly organized. So if you're going to the bank to pay off a mortgage or something, I don't know, buy a car or something like that, then that's when you should definitely be on the alert, because they're pretty organized. These some of these criminal groups that are doing these things. So
they're not amateurs.
They're not amateurs. But if you're paying attention, you're going to notice.
Yeah, because they're just at the bank sitting there for hours at a time, waiting for the person to come into the bank that they want to target as a victim.
Yeah.
So as you may not be the person that they're targeting, but if you see something, just
see something, say something.
If
right?
you see somebody hanging out the bank and they don't seem to belong, give the police a call. Let us come check them out before they make somebody a victim.
I like that idea. Well, let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the great programs offered by Scottsdale Police Department for our youth, as well as some of the good things that are happening. And like Officer Katzeroff said, don't panic. We're lucky to live in Scottsdale where crime is low. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. I want to talk about some of the cool programs you all are offering our teenagers and older youth here. I was reading about the Public Safety Teen Academy and Cadet Academy. Commander, why don't you start and tell me a little bit about those?
Yeah, actually, those are near and dear to my heart.
Okay.
The assignment I was at before this was I was over our patrol enforcement section, which included our school resource unit and those programs. And on top of that, more importantly, my kids have gone through those programs.
Oh, very cool.
So, yeah. And they're great. I'm going to talk about the Teen Academy first. That's something that we offer typically every summer and about a week after school lets out here in Scottsdale. And it is a great opportunity for teens, I think the cutoff is
14.
14,
yeah.
Thank you, to come out and really experience public safety. Mm-hmm. And so they get police training, they get fire training, they get to go through different obstacles and things like along that week. And for my kids, from day 1 to day 5, night and day difference. They went in because I forced them to go in.
Like most parents do with their kids, let's be real.
I'm like, hey, it's the summer.
You need something
we need
to do.
You guys to get out of the house and so we can work. And so it was, and that's the other thing is it was free. And it's
oh, good.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's not something that you're paying an arm and a leg for, but it's the opportunity again for us to partner with the community. And these aren't just cops' kids or firefighters' kids. These are, any
like my kids.
Yeah, your kid, absolutely. And at the end of the week, they were changed. They now all of a sudden had a very significant interest in law enforcement. By the way, my kids, I don't think they ever really believe that I'm a cop. And then, so for them to actually
see what you go
through that and see some of their training, it has also helped our relationships.
That's
so
interesting.
Been great, yeah.
Perspective, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's you. Speaking of that, we assume a lot as a society without asking a lot of questions. Like what I'm really working on, we assume that cops are always out to get us, and they're always there for the bad guys and not just for the good. And I think this is a great opportunity. And it's really those teenagers that are really most scared, I would assume, or of police officers. It gives them an opportunity to really see what y'all do and can do. Yeah. And the cadet program as well is something that's really cool for you guys. Yeah, that's something that we've been doing for a long time is cadets. And they'll meet every week. For those that are familiar with the Explorer program, it's very similar to that. It's the same, kind of the same setup. So our teens and even college students that want to get into law enforcement, it's a great opportunity for them to, again, get that continuous training, get comfortable with some of the different things involved with law enforcement, and then opens them up to a ton of opportunities, not just career-wise in the future, but scholarships if you're going through college, things like that. So it's a great program. Plus, you are building those connections with people that are already on the police department, so that when it is time for you to test. So, for instance, we have a gentleman right now who's one of our police aides who's coming through, and who came through our cadet program. And we see that often. We've got a pretty good percentage of our officers and police aides have come through that program.
In fact, our former commander, Pat Regan,
that's right,
was
really? He
an
was
explorer, a cadet, and became an officer, rose all the way up to commander within our
That's
agency.
a cool story.
And now he's a chief of police in Colorado.
Yeah.
That's a really cool story.
Yeah.
And see, all because he had perspective and got in early. I love that. Well, Officer Katzeroff, there's also opportunities for adults that can do stuff too. There's a neighborhood watch and Police Citizens Academy. Tell me a little bit about that, because it's not just for our youth programs either.
Yeah, we want to make sure that everybody's educated. I have a program about kids too.
Okay.
But first, the Citizens Academy is open to any interested adult who wants to learn more about the police department. And similar to our Explorer program, they'll come in and hear from every one of our units and kind of understand what we do and why we do it. And it's a 8-week program, and at the end, they get a certificate, and it allows them a chance to be on citizen review boards and things like that for the police department. The neighborhood watch is different in that that's where people are getting together with their neighbors to watch out for each other. And I think it's a fantastic program. It's free. It's put on by the city. They work with an advisor that's employed by the city. And it gives them a chance to talk with their neighbors, meet with their neighbors, learn some crime prevention. We'll often go out to those meetings.
Nice.
But more or less, it provides a safer neighborhood, because if you know your neighbors and you know their day-to-day, you can see what's out of place. And if there's something out of place, then you can call us and ask for our help.
I love it. I mean, I love that you said that, because a lot of people traveling this past summer and stuff like that, I know that I communicate with my neighbors when we go out of town and vice versa. And there were actually instances this past summer where, like, I had to call him and he was like, Alicia, your garage door opened. Is that supposed to happen? I was like, absolutely not, and he had deliveries made that weren't supposed to be his house. So all those little things, but we were in touch with each other. We were keeping an eye out for each other, and it made a small difference rather than going on next door and complaining about something big. Let's not turn it into that. I like just helping each other.
Yeah.
School's back in session. Yes, I know.
Oh, man,
I'm sure you two are more excited than anybody.
Yes.
School is good. It's good for the kids to have a place to go. And speaking of school and those programs for kids, I do want to make a plug for a program that we call Hands-On Safety.
Okay, tell me more.
This is a program that I do where we get together with kids elementary school age, preferably, that first, second, maybe even kindergarten, where we do a classroom presentation on ways that they can stay safe, both, things that are police related, but also fire related, but just their day-to-day decisions that they make that they do. And then at the end, we have a special treat for them where they get to put their handprint on my police car with washable paint.
Very washable.
And they make their pledge to stay safe. And so it's best when it's run through a school. So if there's a school that's interested, kindergarten, first, second grade, and they want us to come out, it's free of charge, and we will come out and do that for their school-age kids.
Perfect. I'll put all that information in the description of this episode so we can have the link and just go straight to it and get that in. I will absolutely tell my principal at my kid's school about that, because I know my daughter, who's in those grades, is going to love that.
Oh, yeah.
The school's back, thank goodness. Snowbirds are going to be here before we know it. I'm sure they're starting ready to pack up. How do you all shift when it comes to patrolling and keeping the community safe when we have an influx in our population like this seasonally?
Well, luckily, we are so accustomed to that in everything, right?
Yeah.
That we have such a large transient population that comes in for the incredible events that we put on. And we're staffed. I mean, we are staffed not just for our population here, but for the influx of visitors, the increased population throughout the peak months of the year. And so it's really not that much of a difference for us as a department. Now, what you will see is usually an increase in traffic and in events, potentially in calls for service. Like many industries, summer months are usually a little bit slower for us, but we take advantage of that by doing different programs, identifying ways that we can be better as a police department, and things like what Rob is talking about with finding ways to go out, and not just at the schools, but at some of the different community centers, some of the summer programs, and doing the hands-on safety, different events like that. We stay busy enough in the summer, and then once the visitors start coming back, then
focus more on that.
We're ready.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are y'all relieved that the big season was over last year? We had Super Bowl, Barrett-Jackson, Waste Management Open, Arabian Horse Show. I mean, that was in 3 weeks' time, basically. Did y'all sleep? Have you recovered?
We slept for about a day.
Okay.
And then and then immediately we're thinking about 2024 because it is, as you know, it is just there's always something going on. And so, we're not going to have the Super Bowl here next year. That's a relief for us, but we're still going to have those massive events and have plenty of work and things to stress over.
Officer Katzeroff, I want to ask you, what is the biggest ask from the community right now that we can do for Scottsdale Police and Fire and everyone else that helps us keep us safe?
That's a good question because the citizens of Scottsdale, especially North Scottsdale in our district, are so generous. They're constantly asking, can we bring you guys lunch? Can we, supply you with equipment if you need? And I'm not sure of all the regulations with getting equipment. But the biggest thing I would say is call us when you need us. A lot of people feel like, I don't want to bother the police.
I'm one of those people.
They have more important things to do. Where, in fact, we want to know what's going on in your communities. If there's something happening to you, we want to know because that helps us direct our resources to those problems. And if a lot of times people will complain, like on Nextdoor. Yet when I go to look for those calls for service, I can never find them because people are not calling us.
Okay.
So if there's something happening, give us a call. Let us have a chance to come and address it and maybe help out with the situation that you're having as opposed to just complaining about it. So
that's fair.
The biggest asset I would say is just call us when you need us.
Okay.
That's so good, Rob. And I just need to plug Rob too because he's also available. Like this is Rob's job is to go out and educate the community. So if there's an HOA or a community group that is having issues or has questions and wants that connection with the law enforcement in the community, that is Rob's job. So reach out to Rob, reach out to myself. And that's just in the Foothills district. But we have our Via Linda district, our McKellips district also have crime prevention officers, and their focus is community policing.
I love that because we do need more of that. And I think that's what I love having you guys on for is to really show who you are and not just be seen as a person in uniform. Like there's so much more to what you guys do. And I want to focus on that. Before we wrap up, I'm going to start with you, Commander Watson. What is your favorite Scottsdale vibe?
There are so many. And I kind of have to. I don't want to steal anything from Rob, but I just went golfing this weekend in Scottsdale, and we have the best golf courses.
Yeah? Even right now, I mean, what time did you start, 4 a.m.?
You know what? This is when the pricing is right in my wheelhouse. So summer is my peak month. I just have to make sure I drink plenty of water, lots and lots of water, have the liquid IVs out there, everything ready. But I love our golf community here in Scottsdale. And then because my wife would be upset if I didn't say this, our date night pick every time is going to be somewhere in Scottsdale.
Oh, yeah.
We're foodies. We love the food, and there is just an option for everything here.
Those really are like the two biggest things for Scottsdale. So you're in the prime location for your life, I feel like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it. What about you, Officer Katzeroff?
Well, he did take my two.
Of course he did.
So I would say, renting a short-term rental and having a big party. No, I'm kidding. That is not what we do.
And have all your friends come and join. You're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Don't do that. We have laws for that.
I love it.
So, I like live music, and we have a lot of good places that do have.
And they're back finally, too. I love it.
And so they're fun to go to, where you can have a drink or, if you want to have more, get an Uber or a Lyft and enjoy the music and the entertainment. And, Scottsdale is a great place for that. So
I love it. Do you sing at home? Like, do you have you karaoke? You just go and enjoy other people's voice?
Rob's very talented.
I love to karaoke. I just don't do it all that much. But, I think I'm particular to the Toby Keith songs.
Okay. I can see that about you. Those are good. All right.
He's a good entertainer.
I always say a person's karaoke song says a lot about them.
Yeah.
It does. I won't tell you mine. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to have the calendar of events. Thank you so much to Commander Watson and Officer Robert Katzeroff. And like they said, don't be afraid to call. This is what their purpose is. They want to be a part of your community. They want you to be a part of theirs. If you have any questions or want to learn more, I'll have all the information in the description of this episode. Thank you guys for joining me. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with calendar of events. Buying a home can be scary and sometimes frustrating, but all of that can go away with the right realtor. And that's where Shawn Shackleton with the Shackleton Group is here for you. Shawn has over 25 years experience in real estate. She's here to get you what you want and won't settle for less. She's experienced, knowledgeable, and understands this market, which these days is always changing. Take the stress out of your next home purchase by calling Shawn at 480-734-7277. You can also find her at theshackletongroup.com. There is still plenty of fun to have here in Scottsdale, even though it is still very hot outside. Let's go have some fun. Hotel Valley Ho is having a Sip and Shop Summer Market Series. That's a tongue twister, and I finally got it out. As summer heats up and the local farmers markets wind down, they are celebrating local chefs, purveyors, and most importantly, some of our favorite wine spirits with a festive and free indoor market series. You can savor 6 tastings of wine, beer, and spirits, enjoy live music, and get a 20% off voucher to use at Zusu within 30 days. You'll also have food by top local chefs that you can purchase, and new this year is they're adding a celebrity chef dinners to each event. Savor a delightful 3-course menu created by Executive Chef Russell and the guest chef, including a meet and greet reception. Don't forget to click on the link in the description of this episode where you can buy tickets for that event if you're want to do more of the chef tasting. All right, all you dog lovers and 4-legged friends out there, the Dog Fun Festival is this weekend at Westworld. It's happening, and you can come and bring your pups for a day of races, Instagram-worthy pics, special treats, and awfully fun time. Doors open at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and don't worry, it's all happening indoors to make sure us and our furry friends stay cool and have a great time. I think that's a really cool event for all the dogs out there, because it's not just about our kiddos. All right, ladies, this one is just for you. The What She Said event is happening again at the W Hotel on Thursday, August 24th. And it's happening on August 24th because that is Women's Equality Day. This event showcases powerful women who are here to motivate and let you know you can actually do it. Tickets start at just $35 and are still available. I highly recommend you go check it out. We had the honor of being one of the featured podcasts there last year. We had plenty of guests come out of it. I encourage you to go. They do a great event, and I am excited for them to be back. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast listening app. Find us on Instagram, Facebook at Scottsdale Vibes Podcast. We're also on TikTok and YouTube. And don't forget that we're now the proud owners of Scottsdale City Lifestyle Magazine, where you can read about even more of our favorite community. Have a great week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.